So in today's video, let us learn about Mendel, his experiments on the pea plants and also the laws of inheritance. So Gregor Johann Mendel is called the father of modern genetics because he has done several experiments on the pea plants and he has given the laws of inheritance. So before him, actually, nothing was known about how the characters were getting transmitted from one generation to another generation, nor the concept of genes was known to the people, nor the pattern of inheritance was known, okay, nor the chromosome concept was clear to the people. Only after he deduced these laws of inheritance, okay, people have come to know about how the characters are getting transmitted from one generation to another generation. So he has done all his experiments on pea plants. Nearly for 7 years he performed lots of experiments. The scientific name of pea plant is Pisum sataivam. Then there might be a question from your side like, why only pea plant? Why can't he select any other plant? He found that there were many advantages associated with the pea plant, for which he selected pea plant for his experiment. So this question is very important for 2 marks. Usually in the exams they'll be asking about why, okay, Mendel has selected pea plant as his experimental, okay, plant. So what are all the characters? So it has got well-defined characters. All the characters were very clear. Okay, whenever he was performing some experiment, the characters were very clear. There was no intermixing of any of the characters, and it was an annual plant. Bisexual flowers, that is both the male and female parts were present within the same flower, and it is predominantly self-pollinating because it is a bisexual flower. Okay, the pollination was predominantly self-pollinating, and even the cross-pollination was also easily possible. Many seeds could be produced, okay, and it is found to grow fast compared to other plants. So because of these eligible reasons which were associated with the pea plant, Mendel has preferably selected pea plants for his experiments and conducted all the experiments and finally deduced the laws of inheritance. Okay, so talking about the dominant and recessive characters in the pea plants. In pea plants, actually, he performed several crosses and found, okay, which character is dominant and which is recessive. Now coming to what is cross. Cross is, okay, between two parents, okay, when the cross is conducted, when two parents are allowed to pollinate, the offspring that is produced, okay, you can read the characters in the offspring that is produced. Now in the plants, how crossing occurs, okay, so in order to understand that, just see this. So okay, two pea plants, let us suppose Mendel is performing a cross between two pea plants. So let us imagine that one plant he will call it as a female plant, another pea plant he calls it as a male plant. So what is the process of crossing between the plants he has done, or whenever you have to do crossing between plants, what will be the procedure? Whatever plant you have selected as the female plant, because this is a bisexual flower, in the female plant, what you will do, in the flower of the female plant, you will select out the flowers, okay, and in the flowers, what you will do, you will remove the male parts. I have shown the cutting portion. So you will remove the male parts, which are the anthers. Okay, from the stamens, we will cut off the anthers, and this process is called as emasculation. The removal of anthers is called emasculation. So now the plant which is selected as the female plant, in that we have the flowers which will have only the female part, that is the pistil portion. Only the female portion will be there in the flowers, whereas the male parts, that is the anthers, we have removed by the process of emasculation, which we will be personally doing in our experimental plants during the cross. Then the other plant which is selected as male plant, in that plant, okay, the anthers will be there, so they will dehisce and they will release the pollen grains. So these pollen grains, what are these pollen grains? The pollen grains are nothing but these are the male gametes of the flower. So what is done in order to perform a cross between two plants? Okay, the female plant will be there, in which the pistil portion is there. The stigma portion is there in the female flower. So from the male flower, the pollen grains will be picked up with a matchstick and they will be dusted on the top of, as I have shown, they will be dusted on the top of the stigma of the female flower. And they will be covered off with a bag like this on the top. Okay, paper bag will be put on the top so that no other pollen will fall on the stigma again. So they will close off and they will allow the pollination to occur. So after a period of pollination, okay, so the seeds will develop, the pea pod will develop, the seeds will develop, then they will study the characters. This is what is called crossing between two different varieties of plant. Okay, so why I am explaining all this is, so after performing crosses between different varieties of pea plant, Mendel has found that some characters of the pea plant are dominant, which will always express themselves, whereas some characters he called them as recessive characters. You can see here in the flower color, okay, the purple color was dominant over the white color of the flower. Okay, and position of the flower, when you see, axial position was dominant over the terminal position. When you talk about the seed color, okay, yellow seed color was dominant over the green seed color, and when you talk about the seed shape, okay, round seed shape was dominant over the wrinkled seed shape. And talking about the pod shape, okay, inflated pod is dominant over the inflated pod was dominant pod, and the pod color, when you see, green color was dominant over yellow color, and stem length tallness was dominant over the dwarfness. So what is this dominant recessive, okay, characters what I am speaking about? You will come to understand when we discuss about the laws of inheritance. So dominant character is the character which will express itself always. It will not allow the recessive character to show its feature. Okay, if you have to understand all this, just refer back to my video, okay, on different terms that are used in this lesson, wherein I have focused on the dominant and recessive definitions also. Okay, so like that he performed crosses and he found that these are the dominant characters in the pea plant. Why we have to have an understanding of the dominant characters is, in future whenever I make a cross, you should be in a position to remember what are the dominant characters and what are the recessive characters. So you have to memorize this one, which is very, very important. 7 characters, okay, he has studied and found the dominant and recessive factors among them. Then based on all these studies, Mendel has given 3 laws of inheritance. So 3 laws have been given: law of dominance, okay, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. So these are the 3 laws which can also be attributed to some of the characters which are transmitted in humans, okay, which will follow the Mendelian principles. Some characters, okay, in humans actually may not follow the Mendelian principles, but most of the characters, okay, they follow these Mendel's laws. So let us try to understand in my future video about the laws of inheritance in a clear way, and how we can attribute what is the importance, why we have to learn these laws, and how they are, okay, attributed to in the human sense, actually how our characters are getting influenced, okay, by these laws. We will come to understand. Okay, so try to listen to the video 1 or 2 times, and any of your doubts you post in the comment section so that I will help you out for sure.